It's hard to believe that the holidays are almost here. There's so much to do. I'm having friends for dinner to play bridge, and I wanted to make a really yummy make-ahead meal that can be served up, and I don't have to be slaving at the stove while they're here. We're gonna make turkey tetrazzini, a fun salad that looks perfect for the holidays, and a dessert that will knock your socks off. It looks so fancy, but it's really easy to make. Thanks for joining me. So there are quite a few ingredients in this turkey tetrazzini, but it really is a one-pot dish because you have all of the vegetables. I'm even using the turkey that I froze that was left over from Thanksgiving. And so we're gonna start by sauteing these vegetables. I've got half a cup of onion, 3/4 of a cup of shredded carrots, half a cup of finely chopped celery, and 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms. So we're gonna let the butter melt, and then we'll saute these up until they're soft. So my butter is nice and melted. Now I'm going to add these vegetables. They'll all go in at the same time. Give that a nice stir. It's important to make sure that these vegetables are softened before you go on to the next step of the recipe. The vegetables have been cooking for a few minutes, and now I'm gonna add half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper. It already smells so good. The vegetables have been cooking for about 5 minutes now, and they've softened up nicely. We're gonna start to make the sauce for our tetrazzini. The first thing we wanna do is we wanna add something to thicken it. So this is just regular flour. It's about a half a cup, and I'm gonna add this in and stir it around. Try and get it to cook a little bit. We don't want the taste of raw flour in this tetrazzini. And now we're gonna add half a cup of Marsala wine, just to give it some flavor. I'm gonna stir that around. The next thing I'm gonna do is take 4 cups of chicken broth, and I'm gonna slowly add it to this mixture. So once I have the chicken broth in here, I'm gonna cook this for about 5 minutes. While this is thickening and cooking, you wanna stir it pretty much constantly. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And this is 4 ounces of cream cheese. So my cheeses have all melted. I'm going to take this off of the heat and add the rest of my ingredients. This is 2 cups of turkey that I've chopped up, 3/4 of a cup of frozen peas, and this is half a pound of spaghetti that I just cooked. That's all nicely mixed together now. And then the last thing we'll do before we put it in the oven is we're gonna take another half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese and add to that a half a cup of panko breadcrumbs. Stir those together, and then we'll just pour this over our casserole. This is awesome because this is a 1-dish meal. The next thing is to put this into a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes. For our salad, we are gonna do a fun, Christmassy caprese salad, which is just tomato and mozzarella. But I'm gonna try and make this look like a Christmas wreath. And the dressing for it is going to be what's called a balsamic reduction. And I'm actually gonna start on that first. So I need 1 cup of balsamic vinegar and 1/3 of a cup of honey. And I'm gonna put that over here into this pot. I'm gonna stir these together, and I'm going to let this cook for a little while until it's reduced to about 1/3 of a cup. While that's cooking, I'm gonna get started on creating my salad. I went to the farmer's market this morning and I got some fresh basil. And I'm gonna arrange these basil leaves around the outside of my little glass plate. And my hope is that when I'm finished, it's going to look like the edge of a Christmas wreath. I have this little bowl in the center. The only thing that this bowl is doing is it's gonna hold my tomatoes and mozzarella in place and make, when I lift it out, I'll have the little center for the wreath. So all I'm doing is I'm taking this container of cherry tomatoes, and 4 cups of, these are little mozzarella nibs. So I'm just going to stir these together, Christmas colors. And then I'm just going to spoon them onto the plate around this bowl. How much of the ingredients you need totally depends on the size of your plate. I think that's probably enough. But we'll take the bowl out and we'll take a look and see what it looks like. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that balsamic reduction and I'm just going to drizzle it over the top. Now the last thing that I want to do is I'm going to take a few of these leaves. If I roll these leaves up and I cut them thinly with my knife, what I'm left with are these little tendrils of basil. And I'm just going to sprinkle these over the top of the salad. Isn't that pretty? So simple, yet that definitely looks like a Christmas wreath. The final piece of this special meal for my friends before we're going to play bridge is dessert. Many of you know that I love a chocolate trifle, and I thought it would be fun to try a riff on the traditional one that I do and try and make it a little more Christmassy. You're going to start with a box of any kind of chocolate cake mix, and you're going to bake that up according to the package direction in any kind of pan you want. I've already done this so that you don't have to watch me mixing it, and it's just in a 9x13 pan. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a box of chocolate jello, and I made that earlier as well. And so here's the chocolate jello. You're getting the idea. We're going to have layers. We're going to need to make some whipped cream. So we're just going to take a pint of whipping cream. This is heavy whipping cream. So I'm pouring this into my mixer. And I want to flavor my whipping cream a little. So I'm just going to put about a tablespoon of sugar and a couple drops of vanilla. The whole idea behind whipping cream is you want to get as much air into it as quickly as you can. As you can imagine, this can end up making a huge mess. I take a kitchen towel and I drape it over my mixer. So I'm going to start to whip it at a medium speed. Then I'm going to pull it up to a very high speed. As soon as it starts thickening up, I can take the towel off and keep an eye on it. It's thick enough now that it's not going to go flying all over my kitchen. Okay. Last thing I need for my assembly line is the crunchy bits to go into the middle of my trifle. So I got some peppermint bark. I'm going to take a couple of these and put them into a bag and bang them with my meat tenderizer. Now that looks pretty good. What I want is I want my peppermint bark in small enough pieces that if I get a spoonful of it with my dessert, I'm not going to break my teeth. So I've got all of my ingredients, my chocolate cake, my chocolate pudding, my whipped cream, and my bashed up peppermint bark. This is a trifle dish, and they really help to make the dessert look special. So what I'm going to do to start with, I'm going to take this cake and I'm going to divide it in half. And then I'm just going to take it out and crumble it with my hands into the trifle dish. For my next layer, which is going to be half of my chocolate pudding. So then I'm going to take some of my peppermint bark bits. I'm going to sprinkle that over the layer of chocolate pudding. And then the next layer is going to be our whipped cream. We're going to take maybe a third of this whipped cream, layer it in. So I'm just going to gently spread my whipped cream. Then I'm just going to repeat this. One more layer of the chocolate cake. Then I'm going to take another layer of the chocolate pudding. Then I'm going to do another layer of the crushed up peppermint bark. And then the last thing we're gonna do on the layers is another layer of whipped cream. Gently push this whipped cream towards the edge of the bowl. So at the farmer's market this morning, I was able to get some fresh mint, but they almost look like little leaves. Arrange them on the top of my trifle, and I'm gonna put a maraschino cherry in the center, and my hope is that it's going to look like little Christmas flowers. Then the very last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that reserve candy cane and I'm going to sprinkle it over the top of my trifle. This is our last dish, and I've got a beautiful meal for my bridge partners, and I can't wait to share this with them. We've got turkey tetrazzini, this Christmas caprese salad, and this amazing peppermint chocolate trifle. I want to wish all of my friends, my family, my clients the happiest of holidays and a very, very wonderful, prosperous, healthy new year. Cheers. Thanks for a great year.